Welcome to the Building Your Career podcast. I'm your host, Dom Taujanskas, and join us as we explore the world of construction. Each episode, we welcome a guest that shares career highlights and career advice, and hopefully inspires the next generation of construction professionals. Welcome to another edition of the Building Your Career podcast. Today, very excited to have as a guest Dan Shelbourne, Business Development Executive at the Skills Centre. And I know we've had a previous guest, Gareth Davies, from the Skills Centre as well. So super keen to have him on, very keen to hear his story. I know Gareth was very keen for him to join the pod as well. So, Dan, if we start off where we always start off, I'll give the floor to you. Could you tell us a little bit more about your current job role and exactly what you do at the Skills Centre?
Yeah, thanks, Dom. I've got big shoes to fill after Gareth, haven't I? So, my current role is Business Development Executive, like you said, at the Skills Centre. I've been in the industry for about just over 2 years now, and it's not been the most normal introduction to the industry in terms of coming into the Skills Centre and working here for 2 years. I've done a range of different things. We started off at sort of training with Gareth, mm-hmm. And then we've worked with companies like O'Halloran and O'Brien on their training academy on a consultancy basis, and then later with the Skills Centre, of which then now sorted into the Skills Centre have merged together. So it's been a lot of changes, a lot of different stuff. But yeah, now it's like I said, we look after. So my role is looking after all the referral partners, whether that be local communities, job centres, local councils, and getting their customers onto our construction courses. Mm-hmm. So we run a range of different construction courses, getting new entrants into the industry. So we've got centres throughout the country, and I look after me and my team look after all the referrals from there.
Okay, brilliant. And could you give us a little bit of an idea of the different courses that you provide and what people can get involved in if they want to?
Yeah, so the Skills Centre itself, now we're basically a one-stop shop for everything regarding construction training. So that's all your level 1, getting into the industry, all the way up to like level 7, MVQs and site management kind of courses. In addition to that, obviously all the health and safety training, which is mandatory on the site. So we kind of cover all that. In my role and our courses that we look after, the pre-employment, so they could be anything from 1 week to 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And that's really just giving a new entrant a overall taste and overall idea of what construction has to offer. Give them an opportunity to get out in our big practical areas, because all of our sites, all of our locations that we've got are based on construction sites. Yeah. So they get out in the training yard, try a range of different trades, see what they enjoy, what they don't enjoy, which is sometimes more important, and then at least a guaranteed job interview. So and then obviously then accompanying that with the CSCS card and other different qualifications like mental health in construction, sustainability in construction, which the employers are looking for, as well as the CSCS card. So yeah, it's about just welcoming people into the industry, opening their eyes to it, see if it's something for them, and then progressing them on into employment.
And definitely, and that's what we're trying to do here, is just to reach out and give people the various channels and the various options that are available. So it's good to see that you're out there and actually doing something about it as well. So, out of interest, how did you kind of first get involved in the Skills Centre, and what's your backgrounds then?
Yeah, so I went down the education route from school. I didn't have a construction background personally, even though my father's in the construction trade. And when you look back, a lot of people I spent a lot of time with in childhood, they were in the construction trade as well. But I don't think they were very much done in terms of within school of opening them doors and opening them kind of opportunities to me. So I went from school to A levels to university, did a business and management degree with a year in industry as well, a huge company. So I finished my degree 2021, middle of 2021, and Gareth was just starting up sorted training after selling his old company. So we were starting it from fresh, and I had no employees in. And I had a little business on the side whilst I was at university for about 5 years, and that were kind of growing. But I didn't have much experience or people around me really to guide me. So I thought with gas starting up again, I had overall a keen interest in property and stuff like that. But obviously construction is fundamental to that, and having an understanding of that. So it kind of comes together. So I came into sort of training initially with Gaz. We started off by working at his house. We didn't have an office. We didn't really have a website. We were working every hour under the sun. Doing for my first day, got picked up at 3:30 in the morning, which was a kind of a big shock and introduction to the industry. But yeah, I came from that, and off the back of that, really found construction to be really welcoming. A lot of people, like I say, I've grown up with people from the industry all my life, so it was quite an easy fit for me to go into. A lot of people in the industry love sport and stuff like that, which I do as well. So it was kind of an easy fit, and I developed somewhat of a passion for the industry, and yeah.
That's incredible, mate. It's a really nice natural progression there as well. So obviously you're kind of dealing with a lot of people who are just starting out and starting out in the industry as well. So is there anything that springs to mind as like a success story, or anything that, a kind of story of someone who first came in who's doing really well now? Is there any kind of things that spring to mind when you think of the big successes that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, with the nature of what we do, taking people out of job centres, often people may have been, especially when I came into the industry after the pandemic, a lot of people have been let go from other industries, and kind of recognising them transferable skills and seeing, okay, you may have lost that job, but there's so many different jobs out there, and with, like I say, the construction industry, the need it's got for new work, the new workforce. So yeah, in terms of success stories, we've had so many. One being Alex, a lady who came from a different industry in Birmingham. She'd had experience in management and stuff like that. She came through one of our pre-employment courses. Within 5 or 6 months, the company that she went on to work for put her through a level 2 MVQ. She finished that, and then within the year, she was doing a level 3 MVQ and getting into site supervising and stuff like that, just by recognising them kind of skills that she'd already got, but maybe didn't even realise that could be transferred. So yeah, and also a great story as well. We had two gentlemen who I met at a job centre in East London. Michael and Addy, the name were. They were similar age to me, really, 22, 23, 24. They had no industry experience. I went in there on a Tuesday, did a presentation to them all, showed them in the industry. They kind of got a bit inspired. We had an enrolment on Thursday. They came to the enrolment, started the course on a Monday. 3 weeks later, did the course, got the qualifications. Then we just so happened to have a jobs fair down at our Stratford Centre. So it was a really busy day, probably about 200 different customers, loads of different employers. And off the back of that, they then met a company who then took them on to start their apprenticeship the following Monday. So within like a 4-week period, they come from not having no experience at all, doing that 3-week course, getting a bit of experience, finding that passion and that what they wanted to do, and then starting an 18-month apprenticeship, which I've not actually spoke to him since that day, but I need to catch up with him when I go back down. But it's amazing what some of the stories are.
Absolutely incredible. And just to kind of let our listeners know, there are companies out there like the Skills Centre that you can reach out to, and that you're going to be able to have those kind of connections into the industry that perhaps, you kind of sat there and a bit frustrated and not knowing where to start out. But there's people like Dan and Gareth out there that are more than willing to help. So yeah, do reach out as well. But leading on from that then, Dan, if people are kind of just first starting out and perhaps, maybe can't go down the university route or the education route for one reason or another, what are the kind of the different career paths or career options available for people who are just starting out and don't really know what they want to do? They just know that they want to get involved in construction.
Yeah, I mean, there's no end of ways to get into the industry. One could be just going out labouring on site, getting around an industry that you want to get into, whether it be carpentry, go out labouring with a carpentry team, get used to the words, get used to the tools you'll be using, see if you enjoy it. There's no kind of then long-term contract to get into an apprenticeship for 18 months or anything like that. You've also got like pre-employment courses, like we mentioned. If people are unemployed or earning less than £17,000 a year and from certain areas, they can get them for free, which they happen up and down the country, not just a skill centre, like you say. And you've got obviously apprenticeships. We've just had some apprenticeships starting on the HS2, which is fantastic, taking local people, getting them into work, and apprenticeships which could last from a year to 2 or 3 years. So that's a different route where you'd be maybe doing 1 day in the classroom, 4 days on site. So you're getting that mix of earning whilst you're learning. And then obviously once you're in the career, once you're in the job, and you've got your CSCS card, you've got all the MVQ routes and stuff, and that goes from level 2 to level 7. So you've got them progression routes as well. So there's a range of different stuff. And I'd suggest just maybe speaking to somebody who's doing a job that you want to do, see how they got into it. Also reach out to construction companies, ask a bit of advice, because they'll have labour managers there who can support. They may be busy, but they're always willing to help new entrants, and also construction training companies as well, like ourselves. I mean, we've got a walk-in service. Anybody can walk in Birmingham, throughout London, and just get that advice that's probably missing a lot of the time for whatever reason. So.
And you know what? That's one bit of advice actually that no one else has given on this podcast before is to reach out to someone who's doing that job at the moment. That's a great bit of advice, because there's lots of people out there on various social media channels who are big advocates of the industry and, kind of using LinkedIn as a tool. Just message people, reach out to people. But excellent bit of advice that's not been given
not just using LinkedIn and social media. If you play football or you play sport, there'll be no doubt about it. There'll be people who are in a trade. Ask them what they do, just getting how they got there, if they know anybody who's doing it or has got any openings. Use your network you've got without having to kind of go out and force relationships or try too hard. Start at home first. Ask your mum, and dad, or whoever you live with. Do you know anybody who does this? And no, more times than not, they will, and it'll open doors for you.
Are you a job seeker, tired of endlessly scrolling through job boards with no success? Has your job search hit a dead end? Well, we're here to tell you there's another way. Here at Quest Personnel, we offer a variety of free resources to help job seekers just like you. Our team of expert recruiters is here to help you through every step of the job search process, from CV writing to interview techniques. But that's not all. We also offer exclusive access to workshops, networking events, and other job roles that you simply won't find anywhere else. So what are you waiting for? Get in touch now on our website, questpersonnel.co.uk. That is very true, because I know a lot of, particularly the directors that we've spoken to, all their family members are within the industry. So it might just be a case of when you're having your dinner in the evening, just reach out and ask the question, who do you know? Who can I speak to?
Yeah.
But I mean, knowing kind of what you know about the industry now, and knowing that that there are the kind of the good people out there that are willing to give a little bit of a helping hand. Is there anything the industry can do to be a little bit more open, to be a little bit more, to kind of market themselves, to be a little bit more kind of friendly in terms of welcoming people in? Because obviously there is that huge gap with the CIOB producing a report that we are nearly 250,000 more people needed in the UK construction industry by 2027. Obviously there's a huge gap there. So what can companies do to kind of attract and kind of retain that new talent and younger talent as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think not just not just construction, but I think companies as a whole. You see statistically companies who look after employees' well-being. I mean, they retain staff much more, and it's much easier to retain somebody than it is to find somebody new. So looking after what you've already got is important, but also remembering that people who are coming into the industry, they're not going to have the experience and knowledge straight away. I think construction is a bit of a bubble, to be honest. When I came in, people were speaking to me in a language I didn't even understand, all the acronyms, all that kind of thing. And I think that's why I kind of relate so well, and I'm so passionate about the new entrant side of things, because I've been in that position as well, and I recognise that. So recognising that not everybody's going to maybe have a tact with words that they may hear on site. Maybe have, just so it reducing them anxiety barriers. Maybe more taster days within schools, within colleges from a young age. Not just educating the kids on the trade and the different understanding of it, the overall understanding of it, but also the parents and the teachers. So then when they do go into the industry, it's not going to be like, oh, I told you shouldn't have done construction. It's, oh, try something else, because they've got more of an understanding of the overall industry and the different jobs out there. But I think they do. I think there are some great companies that really do some fantastic stuff and look after development. But a lot more can be done, like you're saying. I think utilising social media. I mean, you're big on social media and obviously an advocate of it. More needs to be done of if that's where it's not that young people, or I keep saying young people, but 50% of the industry is over 45, so it is a case of attracting young people. If that's where people spend their time, whether that be, it's not just about utilising LinkedIn and stuff like that. You have to be utilising the platform that young people are using.
Yeah.
And it's going to be attracting the attention. So getting expert advice from social media companies or marketing agencies. How can we reach these people? How can we get these own their interest? Because you see some people love watching these fun like videos where it's like satisfying or whatever in terms of like the different construction buildings. You see them. Have you ever seen them people on YouTube? Them in the jungle and they're building them random like mud houses and stuff. People like it. But there is an interest for it. But it's relating that back to how that relates to that people in the UK, I guess. Bit off topic, but yeah.
No, completely. I completely agree. And I think it's one of those that sometimes it's the marketing side of things, and sometimes actually the reach out does get a little bit lost, particularly with people are busy day to day. They don't always want to kind of invest a little bit of time in that kind of reach out. But I think it's one of those things is that particularly on TikTok as well, most videos there are below 20-30 seconds, so it really doesn't take any time to just record a quick video, and that's where your kind of market is. That's where the people are that you want to attract in the industry. So don't discount those things just because you don't understand them as well. They're very easy to get kind of used to. So
but also as well, Dom, I think like we mentioned about retaining people in the industry, a lot of these big projects that people are working on, they might not be close to home. So a lot of time construction workers are spent working away. Maybe that being hotels away from family. Ensuring that people understand that if they are a bit lonely, if they are, missing home, they're not alone. There's some fantastic charities out there who support people, especially in these kind of things. There's groups out there that engage construction workers working away, and they have sport clubs that are going on in big cities and stuff like that. So just the overall awareness of that, and that might not be the construction company's fault. They might not be aware of them things go on, but there is some fantastic things that go on. So that helps with regards to creating that community feel and making somebody want to stay within the industry and getting that passion for it, because people care, don't they?
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Well, I didn't even know that kind of existed, so that's complete news to me as well. But yeah, as you say, there are those companies out there that just all you got to do is just kind of reach out and search for them, and you will find them as well. But just moving on to kind of final question then, and this is again going a little bit off topic, but obviously you've seen a lot of people come through from complete beginners to them being kind of highly skilled at the end of it. So is there any kind of common myths or any common misconceptions about the construction industry that you've seen people just completely do a U-turn on what they thought the industry was going to be like before they joined it?
Well, I've thought quite extensively about this, and like in terms of the myths and the stereotypes and why they're in place. And it's not just about the obvious ones about heavy lifting. It's all men. Women aren't welcomed on site. I think 14% of construction the industry is women, of which only 2% of them are on site. But there is more help and support going into that. Remind me what the question was again, Dom.
What are the kind of common myths and misconceptions that you have seen people come in and go, oh, do you know what? I thought for example, it's all just blokes on site. There's going to be like a lot of sexism and things like that. But when they've actually come to site, it's been completely different. So what do you tend to find are the most common misconceptions about the industry?
The heavy lifting side of things, big one. I mean, health and safety has brought in things over the last 10 years or so. Used to be 50 kg maximum bags that people can carry. Now it's 25 kg, so that's just one example of how it's changing. Everyone thinks it's dirty work. There's a lot of jobs that aren't involving that. There's a lot of jobs that in the industry that are more communication based rather than the heavy lifting side of things. One being a slinger signaller. I say that every single time. Nobody ever knows what it is. And it's a person with a walkie-talkie at the bottom of the crane working with the lifting teams. their main thing is communication. So why can somebody, a woman, for example, who doesn't want to do that, why can't they do that? So them kind of myths as well. Also about awareness in terms of pay as well. I think there's a great website, Hudson Contracts, Dom, who look after PAYE for self-employed people. They've got some great statistics on wages and stuff. I looked last week, and I think the average UK tradesperson is paid £910 a week, which I think would open a lot of people's eyes, and a lot of people won't be aware of that, which obviously comes into with the skill shortages and stuff like that.
Okay, brilliant, mate, brilliant. Well, Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on as a guest. You've really kind of opened my eyes. I feel as like I've learned a lot as well. And as I say, it's just kind of testament to the hard work and effort that you're putting into to truly change people's lives for the better. So, yeah, thank you so much for being a guest. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, cheers, Dom. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries. Thanks very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining us on the Building Your Career podcast. We hope you enjoyed hearing from our guest and learning about the different career paths available. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe so we can reach even more listeners. And if anyone wants any free CV advice or simply wants to know the options available to them, don't hesitate to get in touch.